Mark and Dave, KEX.
Scott Klinger is joining us, Director of Tax Policy for Business for Shared Prosperity. Oregon small business owners have the same kind of beef with millionaires as the average citizen. You tell us, Scott, in a survey, what'd you find?
We surveyed 500 small business owners and found that 92% of them said that big corporations use tax loopholes to avoid paying their taxes that small businesses have to pay, and that was a problem for their business.
I can hear people now saying, well, you can do a survey or a poll and you can get any result you want. How did you phrase these kind of questions? What were you speaking of specifically?
Well, it was framed that way as big businesses using loopholes. It was a national scientific survey. It was demographic information was gathered on the respondents, and 50% of them said they were either Republican or leaned Republican, and 32% of them said they were Democrat or leaned Democratic, which is roughly the political makeup of small business owners in this country.
It kind of flies in the face of what people talk about job creators, although I've always believed personally that the real job creators are small businesses. What kind of small businesses are we talking about?
We're talking about anything from a sole proprietorship to maybe a manufacturing business that has 100 workers. 100 was our cutoff for small business, and we had people all across that range.
And what was their chief complaint about the breaks that big business seems to get that they don't enjoy?
Well, there's a lot of loopholes in the tax code that big businesses can take advantage of and use to avoid paying their taxes. Things like putting their patents in someplace like the Cayman Islands or Luxembourg and charging large amounts to use those patents so that they don't have profits to pay in the United States. Another loophole that's particularly galling is a U.S. corporation can close a factory in the United States and build one in Asia. And if they finance that Asian factory with debt, with a mortgage, they can deduct the interest on that mortgage from their U.S. taxes. So meanwhile, U.S. small businesses are investing at home to create jobs in communities, and here we have their competitors building factories far away to take advantage of low labor rates and whatnot, and they're getting pretty much the same tax break that small businesses are getting for creating jobs at home.
Did the buffer rule come up?
Not per se, but there was a question about whether millionaires paid their fair share, and 58% said people with families with incomes over $1 million pay less than their fair share, and 57% of them of the business owners felt that people with $1 million or more should pay higher tax rates on their income over $1 million. So not on their whole tax burden, but just the part that's over $1 million.
So these 90% of 500 businesses surveyed, what would they like to see happen?
Well, we didn't ask them specifically about what they'd like to see happen, but the three groups that sponsored this poll, the American Sustainable Business Council, Main Street Alliance, and Small Business Majority, have set out a variety of actions ranging from closing tax haven loopholes to raising taxes on wealthier families and asking them to pay more of their fair share.
You know, what surprised me about this, Scott, is that whenever we talk about tax increases on people who make over $250,000 or, the things that would what they call affect, small businesses or millionaires, people say you're going to kill job creation. But when you tell me these statistics from this survey, it just doesn't seem to jive with the talking points.
Well, we asked people very specifically in the demographic information about their household income, and 3% of the 500 businesses, which is about 15 businesses, had incomes over $250,000. And the really surprising thing is only one of the 500 businesses had a household income of over $1 million. So the fact that we get pointed to as small businesses are millionaires that will be hurt by a millionaire's tax doesn't jive with what we found in this poll.
Is this going to be shared with powers that be, people who make decisions, or is this just to kind of help frame the argument a little differently?
Absolutely. We've sent it to many congressional offices, and we'll continue to do so, and have sent it to the White House. And we're hoping that people will take a look at the poll. You can find it, more information on it on the web at mainstreetalliance.org. You can find both the press release and the whole poll, which is a much longer document, and see all the different questions we asked.
All right, Scott Klinger, Director of Tax Policy for Business for Shared Prosperity. Very interesting. They seem to have the same beef that most citizens do with millionaires.